Hello everyone. महात्मा गांधी विद्या मंदिर संचलित MHG Junior College, Malegaon Camp. Myself, Srimati Kavita Meshram. Once again, welcome to all of you in class 12 of Commerce. So, today's subject is secretarial practice. Today we will see the chapter number 3, issue of shares. What content are included in this chapter? Issue of shares. Methods of issue of shares. A. Public issue or public offer of shares involves sub-point fixed price issue method, book building method, initial public offer and further public offer. B. Offering shares to existing equity shareholder. In sub-point, right issue, bonus issue or bonus shares. C. Offering shares to existing employees. Employee Stock Option Scheme ESOS. Employee Stock Purchase Scheme ESPS and Stock Appreciation Rights Scheme SARS. Sweat equity shares. So now last, D. Private placement involve a preferential allotment. Next, allotment of shares. Next point, provisions, condition for allotment of shares. Next, share certificates, transfer of shares, transmission of shares and distinction. You know very well, I think. In chapter number 2, we studied the type of sources of finance that a company can use to raise funds, shares, capital issue called by issuing shares. So capital is generally perceived to be shares capital, which is of different kinds. Shares capital is raised through the issue of shares, which are the smallest part of the total shares capital of the company. And now, issue shares are the authorized shares sold to and held by the shareholder of a company, regardless of whether they are insiders, institutional investor or the general public, as shown in the company's annual report. A company issue a share only one. After that, investor may sell it to another investor. So now main point, issue of share. What is issue of share? Issue of shares means issued share is a term of law and finance for the number of shares of a corporation which have been allocated and are subsequently held by shareholders. The act of Creating new issued shares is called issuance, allocations, or allotment. Allotment is simply the creation of shares and their transfer to a subscriber. It can raise funds by taking loan or by issuing shares, debentures, bonds, etc. It can issue first one preference shares and second equity share. There are two shares is most important. First one preference shares and equity shares. So equity shares called you ordinary shares. Next point, method of issue of shares. The main aim of issuing right shares is to raise additional funds by offering shares to the existing equity shareholders in the proportion of their holdings rather than making a fresh issue. Let's see chart of method of issue of shares. There are 4 divisions involved in the method of issue of shares. A. Public offer. B. Existing equity shareholder. C. Existing employee. And D. Private placement. So division A involved first one IPO and second one FPO, and division B involved also right issue and bonus issue, and division C involved ESOS, ESPS, SARS and a sweat equity. And now last division D now involve also right issue and preferential allotment. So let's see first one, A. Public issue or public offer of shares. What does a public offering mean? A public offering is the sale of equity shares or other financial instruments to the public in order to raise capital. The SEC must approve all registration for public offering of corporate security in the United States. An investment underwriter usually manage and for facilities public offering. A company can use to pricing method to offer shares to the public. Pricing method, there are 2 types of pricing method: fixed price issue method and second one books building method. So let's see first fixed price issue method. Under this method, the issue price of share is mentioned in the prospectus and investor have to buy shares at that price only. It can be used for any use, for example public issue, rights issues and EOSO, etc. Now next one, book building method. Book building method means under this method the issue price is determined by a bidding process. The investors are given a price band and are asked to bid at a price within the bonds. This way, company arrive at a price at which it will sell its share. It is usually used in public issue, for example IPO and FPO. A company can make public offer. Those two methods, first one IPO and second one FPO. Let's say one initial public offer. Initial public offer means a new company or an existing company offering its shares to the public for the first time. IPO refers to an offer of security by an unlisted public company to the public for the first time. It is very risky for the investor, as he cannot predict the company's performance. And now next, 2. Further public offer or following on public offer. FPO. When a company issues shares to the public after an IPO. FPO means an offer of securities by a listed public company to the public to raise subsequent capital. It is less risk for the investors. He has an idea of the company's past performance and can judge its further performance. He can first of all check a past performance, and overall all decisions depend on past performance, so he can secure future performance. B. Offering shares to existing equity shareholder. A company can raise funds by offering shares to its existing equity shareholder. Is divided to part. First one, right issue and bonus shares. Right issue means right issue is issue for existing equity shareholders. It is a right of existing equity shareholders. 2. Option for every new issue. In right issue, shares are offered to the existing equity shareholder. For example, as like a company offers the shareholders the first option to buy the share of the company. Right issue is done by a company when it wants to raise fresh funds but want to give a change to their existing members to increase their shareholder. And next, 2. Bonus issue. Bonus issue is the most important in your company. So then bonus issue, you call also bonus shares. What is a bonus? Bonus issue means the shares issued at a free of cost to the existing equity shareholders is called a bonus issue or bonus shares. It technically called as flourishing back of profit. Fresh reserve credited from profit like this a part is called bonus issue. Capital reservations. Reserve means reserve creditors for returning, sharing or debentures capital, etc. can be utilized for issue of bonus shares. Bonus shares are issued by the prosper company. Market value of shares company down to their nominal value by issue of bonus shares. Bonus shares is not an income to the company. For joint stock company paid up capital, it increases by issue of bonus shares. So no, in short, bonus issue are fully paid of shares issued free of cost to the existing equity shareholders. C. Offering shares to equity existing employee. A company can raise funds by offering shares to its existing employee as follows. 1. ESOS. 2. ESPS. 3. SARS. And 4. Sweat equity share. First, employee stock option scheme. ESOS. What do you mean by ESOS? So, ESOS means employees stock option scheme. That's employee stock option is a right given to the employees to purchase the shares offered by the company at a predetermined price. It is a voluntary scheme which enjoy employee participating in the company the option given to the whole-time directors, officers or employees of the company, which gives that the right of purchase the security offered by the company at a predetermined price. And now next, employee stock purchase. What do you mean by employee stock purchase scheme? Short form ESPS. That means company offers shares at a discount price, but the price of shares is dedicated on a regular basis from employees' salary under this scheme. The company offer equity shares to employee at a discounted price which they can buy at a further date. Next, stock appreciation right scheme, SARS. Stock appreciation rights is a fund for companies to give their management or employee a bonus if the company performance well financially. Such a method is called a plan. SARS reasonable employee stock options and that the holder employees benefit from an increases in stock price. Now next, for sweat equity share. So sweat equity shares means are shares issued to directors or employees at a discount or for considerations other than cash. Sweat equity is the most valuable equity. There is no business and industry better than anyone else in the world. Love what you do or don't do it. So now next, the private placement. What is meant by private placement? Private placement means company offers its securities to a select group of person not exceeding 200. So that's a limitation. So involve in your group 200 person. It is called as private placement. Private placement of after letter is issued when shares are offered. A company can make private placement in two ways. First one, right issue. Right issue means when a company wants to raise further capital and first offers the shares to its existing equity shareholder. Now next, preferential allotment. What is preferential issue? Preferential allotment means company offers equity shares or securities convertible into equity shares to a select group of persons on preferential basis. This section is finished. Stay home and safe home.